Kato looked back at the Sphinx, its newly revealed face bathed in the warm light of the afternoon sun. His father's words echoed in his mind, filling him with a sense of wonder and purpose. The Sphinx was no longer just a monument to him. It was a symbol of endurance, of strength, and of the deep connection between man and the divine. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Kato lingered, feeling the weight of history settle around him. He knew that he had witnessed something extraordinary, something that would last for generations to come. As the sun dips low in the sky, casting long shadows across the desert, the Sphinx seems to come alive with the fading light. Its stone features glow in the golden rays of the setting sun, giving it an ethereal presence that leaves Kato speechless. He stands there watching as the day comes to an end, knowing that the Sphinx would still be watching over Egypt when tomorrow's sun rose again. The Great Sphinx, now fully unveiled in all its majestic glory, stood as a silent sentinel over the endless sands of the desert, its stone form bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. It was a monument destined to outlast its creators, enduring the passage of time and continuing to inspire awe in all who would come after. For Kato, the Sphinx had become more than just a guardian of Pharaoh Khafre's tomb. It was a symbol of Egypt's unshakable and eternal spirit, a spirit rooted in resilience and power that would live on in the hearts and minds of its people for countless millennia to come. Years passed, and the world around the Sphinx changed, but the statue remained untouched by time. Kingdoms rose and fell, battles were fought, and dynasties faded into history. But the Great Sphinx of Giza stood steadfast against the desert winds and the shifting sands. Kato, now a young man, often found himself returning to the Sphinx, the monument that had once captured his youthful imagination. Each time he visited, he marveled not only at its immense size, but also at the mysteries it seemed to hold within its stony gaze. The Sphinx had come to represent more than just the pharaoh. It had become a symbol of Egypt itself, a land of wonder, strength, and eternal beauty. The wind whips through the desert, carrying grains of sand that hiss across the ground. Kato stands before the Sphinx, now weathered by the relentless elements, yet still mighty and proud. The once sharp lines of the lion's body are now softened by time, and the pharaoh's face bears the marks of centuries. But the majesty remains. Though the Sphinx had weathered the relentless sands of time, its once sharp edges now softened and worn by centuries of wind and sun, its spirit remained undiminished. It stood as an unwavering, timeless sentinel, as if to silently proclaim that Egypt's glory and grandeur would never fade, even as the world around it changed. Its weathered face still gazed resolutely toward the horizon, a symbol of resilience and permanence. For Kato, the Sphinx had transformed beyond being a mere statue of stone. It had become a living monument to the endurance of the human spirit, the power of ambition, and the strength of dreams that dared to defy time itself. Kato begins walking around the base of the Sphinx, his hand brushing lightly against the rough stone. The air is warm and the wind has quieted, leaving the desert strangely peaceful. His steps are slow, each one taken with reverence, as he traces the ancient monument's immense form. Kato's steps were deliberate, each one bringing him closer to a profound realization that had quietly grown within him over the years. The Sphinx was not just a statue, nor merely a tribute to a long-gone pharaoh whose reign had faded into history. It had become a reflection of Egypt's soul, an enduring testament to a civilization that had dared to dream beyond the boundaries of the desert sands and rise to greatness. The Sphinx was also a reminder of Kato's own journey, one filled with curiosity, wonder, and the relentless desire to leave behind a legacy that would stand the test of time, just as the Sphinx had.
I wonder, how many more stories will you witness? How many more lives will you see come and go?
As Kato circles the Sphinx, memories flood his mind. His childhood visits to the site, watching the workers carve away at the stone, his conversations with Merasank, and the unveiling of the face. He smiles, remembering the boy he once was, filled with wonder at the sight of the giant monument slowly taking form. The Sphinx had silently watched over Kato, just as it had watched over countless others throughout the ages, through the rise and fall of dynasties, through wars and times of peace. In its unblinking, eternal gaze, it held the stories of generations, stretching back to the days of Pharaoh Khafre and carrying those tales forward to Kato's own lifetime. The statue was more than a guardian, it was a witness to the flow of time itself. Standing before it, Kato realized that, like the Sphinx, he had been part of something far greater and eternal, something that connected the past, the present, and the future in an unbroken chain of legacy and memory. The sun begins its slow descent beyond the horizon, casting the Sphinx's long shadow across the desert. Kato stands in its shadow, watching as the light changes, bathing the monument in a golden glow. The sky is painted in hues of orange and pink, and the desert, once harsh and unyielding, now looks serene.
You are eternal, aren't you? No matter what happens, you will always be here, watching over this land.
As Kato stood in the long shadow of the Sphinx, he felt a deep and profound sense of peace wash over him, as if the ancient monument itself were sharing its timeless wisdom. The Sphinx had become more than a mere sculpture, more than stone shaped by human hands. It was a guardian of the endless desert sands, a silent, vigilant witness to the passage of time. Its unblinking eyes had seen countless generations rise and fall, and it would continue to see countless more untouched by the changing world. In that moment, Kato understood that, like the Sphinx, the legacy of Egypt would endure, standing resilient and undisturbed by the relentless winds of time, eternally alive in the hearts of its people. Kato climbs a nearby dune and sits down, watching as the last rays of sunlight slip below the horizon. The stars begin to appear, dotting the sky like diamonds scattered across the velvet of the night. The Sphinx, now bathed in moonlight, stands like a guardian of the desert, eternal and unyielding. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle like distant jewels overhead, Kato felt the immense weight of history pressing around him, as though the sands themselves whispered ancient stories. The Sphinx had stood watch over the desert for thousands of years, and it would continue to do so long after he was gone, a silent sentinel guarding the past and future alike. It was more than just a monument to Pharaoh Khafre. It had become a symbol of Egypt's unbroken, enduring spirit, a testament to a civilization that had dared to dream beyond its limitations and had carved its legacy into the earth itself, defying the ravages of time. Kato smiles, leaning back on the sand, his eyes tracing the patterns of the stars. He felt small beneath the vast sky, yet he also felt a sense of pride. He had witnessed something extraordinary, something that would endure for all eternity.
We are all part of this. Every stone, every dream, they live on.
The Great Sphinx of Giza, guardian of the shifting sands, timeless watcher of the ages, and an enduring symbol of the strength that lies in both stone and spirit, would continue its silent, unyielding vigil. Standing proud and resolute, it defied the relentless winds and the ever-flowing passage of time, an unshakable testament to the might of a civilization that refused to be forgotten. For Kato, the Sphinx would forever be more than just a monument. It would remain a constant reminder that some legacies are eternal, carved deep into the earth and written among the stars, meant to inspire generation after generation with the strength to dream beyond their time.